Welcome. Today we're going to be taking a look at Nemo's War. This is a 1 to 4 player action point dice rolling adventure game where you take the role of Captain Nemo sailing the 7 seas under a specific motive. You'll be adventuring, fighting warships, handling ship resources, minimizing notoriety, trying to make it to the end of the game. How do you make it to the end of the game? By finishing the finale card with a number of victory points. Now that we know what the winning condition is, let's take a look at the components, setup, and how gameplay works in Nemo's War. Now let's take a look at the components. The components are for the Ultimate Edition of the game. You have the main game board. At the top left, you have the draw pile. Below that is pass and fail. On the bottom left, you have the adventure card test modifiers and action success table for search, rest, repair, refit, and insight. In the middle of the game board, at the top, you have the notoriety track, ship resources tracks, Nemo, crew, and hull, action point track, action point costs, the map. This has transitional oceans and major oceans. These are connected by solid lines or dotted lines. On the right side of the main game board, you have a spot for the adventure deck, collected treasures, victory points, turn sequence, combat sequence, motives, warships, tonnage track, and salvage. Event cards. These consist of play, keep, and test cards. In the top left corner, you have the victory points for passing the test. Under that, you have a title, a depiction, and a description. On the right side, at the top, you have a number that you need to equal or exceed to pass, along with any resources for roll modifiers. And below that are your circumstances for pass or fail. The finale card, victory points for passing, the title, a depiction, a description, and on the right side, a number you need to equal or exceed, resources for roll modifiers, and below that, the circumstances for passing or failing. Act cards. This has the act number, placement dice, and description. Nautilus upgrade cards. Top left has the victory points. On the right has the cost. In the middle is the title. Below that is a depiction. And below that is a description. Co-op officer cards versus Nautilus tableau card, ship resource markers, adventure tokens, Arabian tunnel marker, bold or stalk attack marker, torpedo attack marker, diplomacy attack marker, sunken treasure fleet, hidden ships, Nautilus ship miniature, imperialist squadron miniatures. This is for the versus game mode, wooden or silver uprising cubes, dice in black and white, gemstones, adventure points block, notoriety block, imperial action block, character tiles, victory point scoring markers, motive tiles. These give victory points based on conditions, white and gray ships. The white are non-warships and the gray are early design warships. Light yellow and purple ships. The light yellow is early warships and the purple is upgunned versions. Blue and purple ships. These are notoriety warships. Green and purple ships. These are notoriety warships. Dark yellow and purple ships, orange or purple, and red or purple ships are modern warships. The black and purple ships are special event warships. The top left is the attack strength, and the top right is the defense strength. Victory points, notoriety, title, and affiliation. Deadly Seas event tokens, cloth bags for ships and treasure tokens, attribute tokens, treasure tokens, you have map, retain, wonder, and other. Between Voyages guide, and your game rulebook. Now let's take a look at the setup. We're going to be setting this up for a solo game for Sailor Mode, which takes 22 steps. Step 1, place the main board in the center of the play area. Step 2, select a motive. Select a motive and place it on its corresponding space on the main board. For your first game, it is recommended to use the Explore motive. Step 3, build and place the draw pile. Set aside the Special Adventure, Finale, and Dakar cards, and shuffle the remaining event cards. Randomly draw a finale card face down with 4 event cards. Shuffle the cards and place them face down on the draw pile. Then take the rising action card Hollow Explosion and a number of event cards based on the motive, 8 for Explore. Shuffle them and place them face down on top of the draw deck. Place the second intermission card face down on top. Then shuffle a number of event cards based on the motive to create Act 2, 8 for Explore. And then you'll place them on top of the draw deck. Place the first intermission card next. Shuffle and place 6 event cards on top and the prologue card on the very top. Step 4, set up adventure deck. Randomly draw 25 remaining event cards, placing them face down on the adventure deck space on the main board. Then place 2 treasure available on top of the deck. Step 5, place resource markers. Place Nemo, crew, and hull ship resource markers on the leftmost spaces on their tracks. Step 6. Place upgrade cards. Based on the motive, place the Nautilus upgrade cards to the right of the main board. For Explorer, you'll place the Hydro Drive in the middle of your player area, then choose 7 Nautilus upgrade cards, add 3 random upgrades, and shuffle those 10 cards, and draw and place the top 4 on the right side of the main board, leaving the rest face down below. You can purchase one of the 4 by spending ship resources, equal to the cost, and refilling the space. Step 7. Create the ship cup. Place 30 white and 14 light yellow ships in the ship cup. Step 8. Place black, yellow, orange, and red ship tokens. Place 2 black, 4 dark yellow, 4 orange, and 7 red ships face up on the corresponding spaces above the tonnage track. Step 9. Place blue and green ships. Place the 4 blue and 4 green ships on the boxes on the notoriety track. For the sailor mode, you would move them 3 boxes to the right. Step 10. Place the Nautilus miniature next to the game board. Step 11. Place hidden ships. Place a hidden ship token in each of the designated starting spaces on the map, placing the remaining to the side. For sailor mode, place 1 less in the Western Pacific, North Atlantic, and European seas. Step 12. Create the treasure cup. Place the treasure tokens in a cup and place it next to the play area. Step 13. Place the notoriety marker on 0 on the notoriety track. Step 14. Place treasure available gemstones. Place 1 gemstone in each of the major oceans numbers 1 through 6, placing the rest to the side. Step 15. Place character resource tiles. Place the 6 standard character resource tiles character side up in your player area tableau. Step 16. Place the action marker on 1 on the action point track. For sailor mode, you'll place it on 2. Step 17. Create supply pools. Next to the play area, place pools for cannonballs, Arabian Tunnel, torpedo, diplomacy, treasure fleet marker, white and black die, and 2 silver uprising cubes. Step 18. Keep the attack marker within reach. Step 19. Place the victory point markers next to the victory point track. Step 20. Place uprising cubes in their corresponding box. Step 21. Place die. Place a black die on 44 on the notoriety track and 2 white die in your player area. And step 22. The prologue. Draw the top card of the draw pile and follow the prologue's instructions. Now let's take a look at the gameplay. A game consists of a number of player turns until you have an early defeat, which is when you exhaust the last ship resources of any of the 3 tracks, reach the final space on the notoriety track for your motive, the Dakar is killed, or every ocean is full of ship tokens, or you reach victory when the finale card instructs you that the game ends. A player's turn. A player's turn consists of 3 phases: event, placement, and action. Now let's look at each in detail. Phase 1, the event phase. You would reveal the top card of the draw pile and then carry out what is on the card, whether it is an event, test, or something else. For event cards, they are either play or keep. Keep cards go into your tableau for later use. Play and test cards are carried out immediately. When drawing an act card, perform the instructions and draw another card immediately. For Act 3, you can change motives, but they must be in the same category. If you do not change, you can choose an upgrade to add it to your available upgrades. For a test, you would roll 2 d6 die. You must get greater than or equal to the number for the event, or greater than or equal to 7 to pass action tests. Keep in mind that a roll of 2 is an automatic fail. And for all other results, you can have dice roll modifiers, referenced as DRMs. There is a -1 modifier for each revealed warship token in the same ocean as your Nautilus. You can add for event or upgrades used. You can add before the die roll for ship resources used, and you can add for spent treasure. Keep in mind that if you risk the ship resource on the test, failing loses 1 for the sailor mode, and immediately you gain it back if you passed. When advancing notoriety, you would add the ship or ships to the cup when you reach those spaces. Once the event is resolved, we move to Phase 2. Phase 2, the placement phase. You would roll a number of dice indicated by the act card. If you're rolling 3 white dice, you would select 2 for the result. Then you would carry out 3 steps. Step 1, the differential is how many action points you get for the turn. You would move your action point marker on the action track. Step 2, if both dice are the same, it is a lull turn. And step 3, place a hidden ship in the oceans corresponding to each die rolled. You would include black if it is not a lull turn. If there are no open spaces in that ocean, you would choose an adjacent ocean following the lines, and if no spaces are adjacent, you would draw a ship token and replace a hidden ship in that ocean or adjacent, white ship side up or non-purple side up, and if past 36 on the notoriety track, it would be purple side up. If all are ship tokens, flip over a white non-warship. If there are none, you would draw a ship to go hunting. For a lull turn, you would ignore the black die when placing. Place a treasure in the double ocean, or adjacent if one exists, and then one on top of the adventure deck. If you can get an action during a lull turn, they are cheaper. This is indicated with the asterisk marks. Then check for the Imperialist World Order. If that ocean has an uprising cube, roll a die. If greater than or equal to the number of cubes and revealed ships, there's no effect, but if less than that number, you would get rid of the cube or gain the rolled number of notoriety. Once we have placed, we move to Phase 3. Phase 3, Action Phase. This is where you'll perform your actions, spending your action points. You would spend the action points gained, and the asterisks are for cheaper actions during a lull turn. You can only save one action point for the next turn. There are 8 types of actions that you can take. First, Adventure. This costs 2 action points, or 1 in a lull turn. Draw the top adventure card, and either perform the activity and get the treasure token for each gem, or decline and discard it to the bottom of the adventure deck, leaving the gemstones. Keeping in mind that for any test, you would lose 1 for each revealed warship in that ocean. The second type of action, Attack. This costs 1 action point for bold or stalk attacks. You would pick the warship and the type of attack, and then you would carry out the combat. During combat, you can combat another revealed or hidden ship. 1 hit would sink other ships, and several hits would sink the Nautilus. This is carried out in 3 steps. Step 1, determine the target. It must be a revealed or hidden ship in the ocean where the Nautilus is located. If hidden, you would immediately draw and replace it with a ship from the ship cup. You would place it white side up or non-purple side up unless you're over 36 on the notoriety track. You would place the appropriate attack marker. Bold would allow for multiple attacks for 1 notoriety and 0 action points. Stalk would give +1 for roll modifier. Step 2, the warship attacks the Nautilus. Non-warships do not attack. You would roll 2d6 die, and you would -1 from that result for each revealed warship in that ocean, and compare to their attack strength in the top left. For a 2, the test fails and the Nautilus takes 1d6 damage immediately. For less than the attack strength, the Nautilus would suffer hits equal to the lowest die. And for greater than or equal to the attack strength, no effect takes place and the warship missed. For each hit, the Nautilus loses 1 random ship resource, rolling a die, and 1 for Nemo, 2 or 3 for the crew, and 4, 5, or 6 for the hull, moving 1 full position to the right. Step 3, Nautilus attacks. You would roll 2d6 die. You would add 1 for a stalk attack. You would also add for exerting ship resources, and subtract for any other revealed warships in that ocean. For a roll of 2, no damage is done, and you get 2 notoriety and lose 2 ship resources of the type exerted. For less than the defense strength in the top right, no damage is done, and you would gain 1 notoriety and move 1 ship resource to the right if you exerted any. And greater than or equal to defense strength, the ship sinks. When a ship sinks, you would gain its notoriety, get any gain immediately, and then decide to send it to Davy Jones's locker in the tonnage track, or forfeit the victory points to salvage it to hopefully refit the Nautilus later. For the tonnage, you would place it in the correct ocean row, going left to right. For salvage, you would place it bottom to top in the salvage area, and this would end your bold attack if you salvage the ship. If this was a bold attack, you could then attack again without spending an action point and going up 1 notoriety. The third type of action, Insight. This costs 1 action point. If an uprising cube is available in the holding box, you would perform an insight test. Then, if successful, place a cube on an available land space connected to the ocean you are located, and then you would subtract notoriety per the test result. See the action success table. The fourth action, Move. This costs 1 action point. You would move the Nautilus to a connected ocean. For this, solid lines only, not the dotted. The fifth action, Rest. This costs 2 action points, or 1 in a lull turn. Perform a rest test to gain crew. The sixth type of action, Repair. This costs 2 action points, or 1 in a lull turn. You perform a repair test to gain hull. The seventh action, Refit. This costs 2 action points, or 1 in a lull turn. Perform a refit test. This is to gain an available Nautilus upgrade. The cost for upgrades are salvage ships off to the right. And the eighth action is Search. This costs 1 action point. You perform a search test to get a treasure from the ocean you are located. Once you've carried out your actions, we would go to the next turn, and turns would continue until the game ends. The game ends in failure by exhausting the last ship resource of a row. Notoriety reaches the end, Dakar is killed, or every ocean space is filled and a warship needs to be placed. You would win the game if you conduct the finale. Once you conduct the finale, we would go to the final scoring. The final scoring takes 4 steps. Step 1, prepare cards. Place adventure cards in the pass-fail piles and adding equipped upgrades to the pass pile. Step 2, gain victory points for pass pile, resource tracks, collected treasures, tonnage, and tableau. being sure to adjust for your motive. Step 3, you would add the furthest column completed on the tonnage track to your victory point total. And then step 4, compare the Appendix E for the level of victory and epilogue. Then you would read the epilogue to end Nemo's war.